Before we start, so I got a problem from a student like this, okay? So let's see that I give you I first explain one issue you may have met in your project. So this is a very simple application. I have a name, date, two text box, one text box, one masked text box. We learned masked text box last time. Basically, it's a text box with a special format, okay? And we have exit button. Okay, we have exit button. So if you check my code, okay, if you check my code, you see that I have a method exit button click. Okay, I have built this event handler, and this button is very simple. When we click the button, right? So the form will be closed. That's it. Okay, it's very simple. You can see code is here. However, you may face the same problem, which is, so you see that if I run my application, okay, if I run my application, so if you run this application, you can see that, so this is my button, right? When I click, nothing happens, okay? So for a lot of students, you may have this problem when you build your project. You close this running application, you check the code. Everything seems to be okay, but you cannot click the button. What's going on? Okay, what's going on? So the solution is as follows. Okay, you click the button. Okay, you click the button. So in the property window, okay, in the property window, you see there are multiple symbols here, right? So you need to pick the flash sign, which is the events menu. Okay, you click the flash sign. So you see you have a menu here. Okay, so there is an item which is click. Okay, there is an item which is click. You see now here for click, nothing has been associated with the click event. It means, so the code we have written here, this event handler, has not been associated with this button. That's why when you click the button, nothing happens. Okay, nothing happens. How to solve this problem? So you pick the click event, you will see there is a menu here, right? You can find items here. You click this arrow, you see all possible options. Okay, in this simple application, I only have one. Okay, in your work, in your project, for example, in the lab or the assignment, you may have multiple. Okay, select the one you want to associate with this button. In this case, I want the method exit button click to be associated with this exit button, right? I select this, okay, exit button. Then I press enter key. Okay, don't forget to press enter key. Okay, then you see that when you do this, this event handler exit button click has been associated with this exit button. Okay, now let's try if it works. When I click start, okay, when I click start, so you can see the application is running, right? So before this revision, when we click the exit button, nothing happens. Okay. Now we have made the changes. You click exit button, the form is closed. Okay. So this is how you deal with the case. You have the code, but when you click the button, when you do something, it does not work. Usually, the reason is this event is not there. Okay, this event is not there. Go there and select the corresponding event. Then press the enter key. Then problem will be solved. Okay, this is how the problem will be solved. Because based on my experience, in the whole semester, a lot of students will have this problem because sometimes you don't know why. So you build the event, but at the event, sometimes the connection between the event and the control is gone. You have no idea why. But when you find this issue, you can use this procedure to solve this problem, okay? To solve this problem. This is the first thing I want to mention, okay? So let's continue with chapter 3. Today we are going to finish everything in chapter 3. A named constant is a named memory location that can hold values similar to how a variable works. So now we are learning constants. Many programs have data that does not need to be changed during the execution of the program. Lettering programs with literal values can make the program hard to read and difficult to maintain. Replacing a literal value with a constant allows a programmer to use a meaningful name for the value. Constants also provide a single point for changing those values when needed outside of program runs. What is that? So let me use one example to explain what is that, okay? What is that? So let's assume we are building a business application. So we need to calculate the final billing amount of the customer, okay? So by collecting different items, right, you need to calculate tax collected, state tax, for example, sales tax. So we know that the tax rate, it is 8.5%, right, 84.5%. So it means that in the whole application, whenever we want to use the tax rate, it is 85%. Okay, each time we use it, it is 8.5%, 8.5%. So let's assume we want to use the number 8.5% always. Okay, whenever we want to use a tax rate, we use the number 8.5%. And let's assume we need to use this number 10 times. Okay, 10 times in the whole coding part. So it means we need to use a number 8.5% for 10 times. Okay, for 10 times. So okay, okay. So for example, we need to use tax rate, right? Tax rate, it is 8.5%, okay? 8.5%. So if we need to use this number 10 times in the whole program, in the whole coding part, so we need to use the number times, okay, 10 times. Okay? So remember, the old tax rate was not 85.5%, it's 7%, right? Maybe 2 years ago, it was 7%. So it was updated to 85%. It means if we have built the application a long time ago, so we use 7%, okay? So it means we used 7%, right, for the old tax, okay? And after the tax rate was updated, we need to revise the 10 numbers, right? 10 numbers from 7% to 85%, okay? So basically means after the tax rate was updated, right? We need to revise the 8.5%, right? Sorry, the 7% to 8.5%, okay? Which is not easy. Why? Because at first you need to find the 10 numbers, right? For example, if you find only 9 of them, you change 9 of them, but you missed one, right? Then there's an error, okay? So you need to find all 10 of them, which is difficult. If you work on a big project, you may use this same number for like 100 times, okay? Which make, when you want to revise these 100 numbers, it is almost impossible, okay? It is very hard to revise it. If you forget one, you missed one, so there is error, okay? So how to solve this problem, okay? The strategy is to use constant, okay? So if we declare, for example, if we declare, right? If we declare a constant, right? tax rate, for example, equals 7% in the beginning of your code, right? And it means that when you want to use 7%, the number, you just need to use the constant, which is tax rate. Okay? So in the future, once the tax rate is changed, you only need to change the definition of the constant, which is much easier to manage, right? And also it is clear, right, for other people to read your code. When people see the definition, they understand, oh, this constant tax rate is to declare, is to use for the number tax rate. Okay, it is clear. So that's why it is useful to using named constant. Okay, this is one example. Okay, it is easier for us to manage your code, and it is easier for other people to read your code. Okay, this is why. So how to create constants? So constants are declared using the keyword const. Okay, const. So constants are initialized with a value when they are declared. So constants can hold only a single value. Once initialized with a value, constants cannot be changed programmatically, okay? By convention, constant names are all uppercase. That's one thing you need to remember, okay? So for example, one here, right, to declare the constant official, right? So we have to use capital letters, okay? All uppercase letters. It means it has to be X. Okay, this is naming convention for constant tax rate. So this is, and multiple words are separated with underscores. Okay, naming convention. Constant are names are all uppercase, and multiple words are separated with underscores. Okay, so for example, this one we have declared constant. First is we use keyword constant. The second one will be the type of the constant. In this case, the type is decimal. Okay, the type is decimal. So decimal, constant decimal, tax rate, all uppercase letters. Words are separated with underscores. So it is 0.07, okay? For decimal type, we need a letter M in the end, okay, with a semicolon. Okay? This is how we declare a constant. So later, when we want to use the tax rate to be 7%, right? We can have total price equals old price times 1 plus tax received. I'm not using 7% here. Instead, I'm using this named constant, okay, tax rate. Okay, you can see that. For example, when we want to change the tax rate from 0.07 to 0.085, right? We just need to change this one line statement, right? Change this number, right? Change this number. That's enough. Okay, that's good enough. No need to revise this number in other places. Okay, in other places. That's good enough. Okay, that's good enough. So we have two simple examples. Example one, declare a decimal constant pay rate to be 12.75. So in this case, so you need to use decimal type, right? We use keyword const. So const decimal pay rate, all uppercase letters, equals 12.75 M and semicolon. This is the first example. Example 2, figure out the error of the following statements in here. Constant decimal pay rate equals 12.75 semicolon. So the error here, it is letter M is missing. Okay, we need letter M. Okay. So when you write the code, okay, you use these things we have learned here in your project. You need to pay attention to these details. Okay, pay attention to these details. Okay. So the next topic is how to declare variables as fields. So what is this topic? It is sometimes we want to have a variable which can be used by multiple different methods. Okay, not one method. Remember, when we learn the definition of variables, right? So the lifetime of the variable is inside the method. Okay, inside the method. It means if we declare a variable inside a method, so that variable only exists inside this method. When the method is executed, the variable is there. When the method is done, the variable will be cleared. Okay? In other words, outside this method, so this variable cannot be used. Okay? However, in some cases, we do want to have variables which can be used by multiple different methods. Okay, multiple different methods. So here we use the term fields. Okay, fields. A field is a special type of variable that is declared at the class level. You see, it's a class level variable. So it is declared inside the class, but not inside any method. Its scope is the entire class. It means this allows for the sharing of data between methods. Okay? So it means that if you have multiple different buttons, when you click each button, you want to share some value, okay? In this case, we can use a field. We can use a field, okay? So in the following example, the name variable is declared as a field. Here we have private. That's a keyword. It means, so this variable is only inside this class, okay? Inside this class, private. String is a type of the variable. Name is the name of the variable equals Charles, okay? So the private keyword is an access modifier that limits access to the field to only code in this class. In this class, so this variable can be shared. Outside of this class, so the variable is not there, okay? It's not there. So a class level variable is created in memory when a form is created and exists until the form is closed. It's class level. So let's see one example. Okay, this is one very simple example. So we have a form. Okay, this is created by the C#. You start empty form. So we have a show name button. Okay, basically we want to show the name. We have a Chris button click. So when we click the Chris button, name equals Chris. Okay. Another button is Carmen button. It means when we click the Carmen button, name equals Carmen. Okay. Basically, we have 3 buttons. Okay, 3 buttons. But you see here, right? So the name variable, name variable appears in all 3 different methods: show name button click, Chris button click, Carmen button click. Okay, it is in all 3 different methods. Okay, you see that in the very beginning, right? You can see that it is class level, right? We have form class. Inside this form class, we declare a private string variable name equals Charles. Okay, it means this variable is inside this class. It's a class level variable. It's a field. It can be shared by all these 3 different methods. Okay. You can see that inside each method, we do not declare the name variable again. It is already there because in the very beginning of your coding part, it is declared as a class level variable. Okay. In all the methods inside this class, any method can use this variable. So in some sense, right? In some sense, so this name variable can be considered as global, right? It's not local because if you declare a variable inside a method, it is local. However, if you declare a variable in the class level, right, this variable can be shared by multiple different methods. Then in other words, we can consider this name variable as a global variable, right? Because it can be used in the whole class, global variable. So an interesting question is, so sometimes we may want to use global variable, but remember a principle in computer programming is So do not use too many global variables. Why? Because for each global variable, any method can change its value. When you use too many different global variables, right? Then sometimes you will mess up. You mess up. You have no idea. So where the value has been changed. Okay? It means you use a global variable where you the keyword have to use such a variable. Okay? Why the problem can be solved by using a local variable, use a local variable. Okay? When you have to use a global variable, then you declare a global variable. Okay? That is a principle. The principle in computer programming. So a constant field is a field that cannot be changed by any statement in the class. So it is declared at the beginning of the class with the private and constant keywords and initialized with a value. So when you declare a constant, right, you have to have a value for the constant. For example, if you only write private constant decimal interest rate, okay, without this equal to 0 point, without this part, okay, you only declare this, the constant interest rate without actual value, then C# will give you an error, okay, it's error. So for any constant, when you declare such a constant, you must have a value. Constant fields are typically used to represent values that are unchanged during a program run and that are needed by multiple methods in a class. So the key thing here is are needed by multiple methods in a class, okay? When you want this same variable to be shared by multiple different methods, so you use constant fields, okay? So the next topic is we have some math class which can be used in C#. The .NET Framework math class provides several methods for performing complex mathematical calculations. Here we have math.sqrt, which is square root. Okay, you can use math.sqrt to calculate the square root of x. So the returned number will be a double type. Okay, double type. The second one will be math.power x and y. It will return the value of x raised to the power of y. Okay, so both an x and y are double. Okay, are double. You have these two different math class methods. So the math class also provides two predefined named constants. The first one, it is pi. Okay, it is pi. So math.pi, it represents the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. Okay, diameter. So the second constant, it is math.E. It represents the natural logarithmic base. Okay, for these two constant values, they are predefined in C#. Okay, you can use those two values if you want. So, and the next one, it is tab order, okay, tab order. So what is tab order? So let me use the following example, okay, okay. So you see that, right, when I use my word, for example, okay, I click my word, okay. So for example, I click home, I click insert, right? So when you click the tab key on your keyboard, you see it's jumping, right? It's jumping. I can example. Well, I go to Amazon, for example. Okay, I go to. Right, if I put my cursor here, right, when I click my tab key, it's moving, right? You see, it's moving on different items. First one, I put it in this search area. I put my tab key, okay? Tab key on your keyboard. I push it once, it goes to this search button, okay? I put it for another time, it goes to this part, right? I push again, it goes to this part, push, try prime, push, cart, push, right? Go there. You see, there is order one by one. When you push the tab key, right? When you push the tab key on your keyboard, we call it the focus. The focus of the application, right, is moving one by one. It seems, right? It seems there is an order behind it, right? For example, why I put my cursor focus here, right, in the search area. Why I click tab once, it goes to the search button. Why I click tab for another time, it go to this hello sign in account and list, right? Why click for the another time, we get return an order. Why it goes one by one with implicit order, okay? Implicit order. You see, for Amazon, so things are complicated. A lot of different things on this web page, right? On this web page. So, however, in Visual C#, we have something similar. Okay, you see here, in this very simple application, one we have a label name, right? Name is a label. We have a text box control, right? We have a date. We have a mask text box control. We have a button, right? We have 5 controls on this form. Very simple. Okay, very simple. Let me run it. Okay, let me run it. You see, when I start the application, the focus is set to be in the first text box control automatically. Okay? When I click my tab key on my keyboard, you see, the focus will move from this name text box control to this date masked text box control, right? When I click my tab again, the focus is moved to exit, okay? When I click tab key again, it goes back to name text box again, right? It seems there is an implicit order behind it, okay? Implicit order behind it. What is that? So this is tab order. This is tab order. So when an application is running, one of the forms controls always has a focus. So in our work, right, when we run it, the focus will, the name text box will have the focus automatically, okay, automatically. So focus means a control receives the user's keyboard input, okay, the cursor is there. So the order in which controls receive the focus is called the tab order. That is, when we keep pushing the tab key, right, the focus is moving, okay, with the order, okay, with the order. So when the user presses the tab key to select controls, the controls receive the focus following the tab order. So tab index property contains a numeric value indicating the control's position in the tab order. The value part starts with 0. The index of first control is 0. The index of nth control is -1. Okay, let's go back to our work. Okay, this one. So remember, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different controls there. Okay, let's close this application first. So we want to check the tab order. Okay, tab order on this very simple application. There are 5 controls on the form. Okay, 5 controls. So how to observe the tab order? You go to View. Okay, you go to View. Okay, View menu in Visual C#, Visual Studio. You see here you have a lot of different things. So here you have a tab order. Okay, tab order option. So you click, you select tab order. You see this is the tab order. This is the tab order. So on the form, we have 5 different controls. Okay, 5 different controls. The first one is 0. It is text box. The second one is the name, right? It is a label. So the third one, it is the mask text box. The next one, it is the label, right? Last one, it is a name. So you may ask, why? the first one, the index of the first number is 0, okay? In programming language, okay, in the future you will learn that. So the first element will be 0, index 0, okay? This fact is true in a lot of different advanced programming languages, okay? The first index will be 0. In Visual C#, the index, the first one, it will be 0. You see, we have 5 controls, right? The fifth one will be 4, okay? The first one will be 0. The fifth one will be 4, okay? This is the all tab order. This is the tab order, okay? This is a tab order. So sometimes, right, you see that when I put my form, I first put a text box, that's why it's 0. Then I put a label, that's why it's 1. Then I put the mask text box, that's why 2. Then I put another label, 3. Finally, I put the button, that's why it is 4, right? It is based on the order with which you put all the different controls, okay? All different controls. So however, sometimes, for example, you may forget something. It means that, so you should put the control earlier, but you put later. It means by default, the order will be wrong. Okay, the order will be wrong. How to change it? How to change it? So basically, you use your mouse, okay? You use a mouse. You put your mouse on one control, okay? On the index. You click once, you see it's 0, okay? You click another time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, right? You click, okay? For each click, the tab order of that control will be updated by 1, okay? You keep clicking until the number is correct. Okay, the number is correct. For example, I want to put the label, right, to be 0. This text box to be 1. You click it once, it is 1. This label to be 2. This text box to be, mask text box to be 3. And exit to be 4, okay? So when everything looks fine, right? You are satisfied with everything, you click exit key, okay? Exit, ESC key, okay? Then you see everything is normal. We have updated the tab order on the form. Okay, tab order on the form. Then there is another question here. Okay, there is another question here. Let's go back to this tab order. You see that the label, right? Name label, this label to display the word name will be the first one in the tab order, right? But why when I click start my application, right? So when you start the application, the focus is not on the label. It is still on the text box, right? You can see the input circle focus is still here, not on the label. What is that? So the rule is this, right? So the focus can only be input area. So for this label, this is only used for display. It is output, right? It means the focus cannot be there. C# will start from index 0, right? If it's not an input, C# will move to index 1, okay? If it is an input, right? C# will stay there, okay? Otherwise, C# will move to the next one. Okay, move on to the next one, okay? So you may ask, another thing is, I run my application, right? When I start my application, the focus is in the text box. I click it once, it is in the mask text box, okay? For these two, when you type, they are inputs. We understand it, no problem. So when I click tab key again, right? It moves to the button. The button is not a typing area. Why? It can have the focus. Because C# is waiting for input, click or not, right? Clicking is also a type of input, okay? So button, therefore, button is also an input control, okay? That's why the focus can stay on the button. On this form, there are 3 input controls: the text box, the mask text box, and the button, okay? That's why C# will start with the text box first, then the mask text box, then the button. When you click tab again, go back to the name text box. Okay, these three different controls. Okay, let's try something different. Okay, for example, if I change, so this to be 0, the mask text box to be 0. Okay, so this to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have this different order. Now the mask text box will be the first one, right? Let's see what will happen when you click start. Okay, when we click start, see the focus is in the mask text box. Okay, so this is how we set the tab order in order to tell C# what will be the order for focus moving. Okay, how the focus will move. How the focus will move. Okay. Let's change back to the original tab order. 0, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. This is the tab order. Okay. When you are satisfied, click exit key. Okay. ESC key. Okay. ESC key. Let me see. Good. So the tab order, to easily set the tab order of the controls. So click tab order on the view menu. You see, I give a step in the slides, which activates the tab order selection mode of the form. Selecting this menu item again turns off the tab order selection mode. Then click the controls with the mouse in the order that you want. Right click on the control, then the order will be changed. So label controls cannot accept input format, the keyboard, and thus they cannot receive focus. They are not input area, even though they have tab order indexes. Okay, even though they have tab order indexes. So this is one example. You see, in the design menu, you see this is your form, right? We have personal information. You have first name, last name, street, city, state, zip, and a button clear, right? So when you see the tab order, you see now the old tab order is 0 is city text box, right? The number 1, it is what? It is, where's number 1? So number 1 is not there, right? Number 2 is street name, right? Number 3 is street. You see, it's a mess, right? Then you can update it. It is personal information 0, first name 1, text box 2, last name 3, text box 4, street label 5, text box 6, 7, text box 8, right? State 9, so the text box is 10. So the zip label is 11. The zip text box is 12, right? The clear button is 13. Then this is organized clear tab order. It means when you finish your work, right? Because in these projects, lab and assignments, there will be a requirement of tab order. Requirement of tab order. In order to satisfy this requirement, sometimes you find, oh, my current tab order is not correct. Okay, in this case, you need to get a tab order first, right? Then change. Okay, change the order to the correct format. Okay, to the required format. Okay. So the focus method, you can use the focus method to change the focus using the following syntax. Okay, syntax. So control name focus, this is how we change the focus. The code below changes focus to the name text box control when the user clicks the clear button. Okay, clear button. So for clear button click, so name text box dot focus, it means that the focus will be sent back to the name text box. Okay. For example, in this very simple example, right? So let me add another button. Okay. So I have this button. Okay. The name of the button will be so it is clear button, right? Clear button. And so basically for clear button, we want to clear form, the content of a form, right? So I just show you how to work on an application, right? So I want to create an event handler. You see a double click, right? So remember when you want to create an event handler, double click the control. However, when you create a redundant event handler, delete it. I have showed you multiple times, right? How to delete a redundant event handler, right? So I can show it again, right? You can delete, for example, if I do not want this, right? I just delete this code, this part of code, right? Delete it. So when I delete it, right, I want to start. So C# will tell us there is an error, right? There is an error. So go to the error, okay? Go to the error. So delete this whole line with the error, okay? Delete the whole line here and save, right? Save. Go back to the start. So everything looks fine, okay? This is how we delete a redundant control, okay? Redundant event handler. So now we want to write something to this exit, a clear button. Now we create event handler clear button click, right? Click. So this one will be first, we want to declare this to clear the content inside these two different input text box, right? We do text, right? Name text box. The hint is from IntelliSense, okay? You can use a hint when you work on with C#. Dot, right? Text, right? We have learned how to clear, right? The content of our input. It is empty quote, right? Empty quote, semicolon, right? Semicolon. Name text box dot text equals empty, right? Then we have date, right? Masked, right? Date mask text box, right? Dot text equals empty quote, right? Now we clear the content in the masked text box. The last one will be we want the focus to be sent back to the name text box. Reset everything, okay? So we do name text box dot focus, right? Dot focus. Okay. Okay, name dot focus. We want to clear the content in the two text box controls. We want to send the focus to back to name text box to reset everything. Let's try. Okay, let's try if it works. Let's try if it works. Okay. So let's put some name. Okay, Michael. Michael. Date will be September, right? 15th, right? 2020, right? I put the date here. So I have some content in these two different input areas, right? Now my focus is inside the date math text box, right? I click clear button, you see, right? So the two in text box are cleared and the focus is sent back to the name text box, the name text box. Okay. Similarly, let's see, right? Right, for this, sometimes, right, you may see that I have my code here, right? My code is here, but when I run my application, right? I run my application, I put right? I put date there, right? I put everything here, but I click my button, nothing happens. Well, your code is there, but when you click the corresponding button, nothing happens. Then it means the event handler you have created code part is not associated with this button. They are separated, okay? You need to connect them again in C#. We just learned how to connect, right? So you click this clear button, right? You click this flash sign or event, right? So we go to the click item, click, right? So in the click this arrow, here you have two things now, right? So the first one is exit button clicked, which is not for this button, clear, right? We need clear button click, right? We select this clear button click, then we'll click enter, okay? So you can go to start, we try it again. Okay, we try it again. I put some name, right? I put some date, right? Now I click clear, it works, okay? When you have this kind of problem, it seems your code seems fine, but when you run the application and click the button, nothing happens. It means the code you have created, the event handler you have created, is not associated with the button, okay? So by following this procedure, you can connect the event handler and the control again. Then it will work. Okay, then it will work. Okay. So it is often desirable to send the focus to the first data input control on a form after clearing the form. It is pretty common, right? Remember when you fill your online form to apply credit card, right? You fill in some information, you find, oh, I made some mistake. I want to refill the form. You click reset, right? Then everything is clear, and the focus is sent back to the first name, right? Sent back. This is how we want to design our application. Okay, our application in this course. So here is one example. Assume we have built a form application, and it contains a text box control named first name text box. Write a statement to send the focus to that text box. So basically, you just need to write a one-line statement. First name text box dot focus. Okay, don't forget there is a pair of parentheses. Okay, then semicolon. Semicolon. That is the answer. That is the answer. Okay. So the next topic is assigning keyboard access key to button. What is that? Okay. So let's go back to this Word application from Microsoft, right? I can use my mouse to click home, assert, draw, right? I click, right? Click those things. I can also use my keyboard to control it. For example, I click Alt Alt plus F, right? I have this, right? So if I click Alt plus D, right? F is file, home. Right? You see, I click Alt plus H, it goes to home. It means we have two ways to trigger the event, right? The first way is I use my mouse to click home, okay? The second one is, for example, I use my mouse to click insert, right? Insert. But the second one is I use Alt plus will be first one it is I click home, right? The second one is I use Alt plus H, I go to home. Two ways, right? So this is how we learn this topic, assigning keyboard access key to buttons. So basically, we want to give the application another way to use keyboard to push a button, right? To push a button, okay? An access key, also known as mnemonic key, right, is a key that is pressed in combination with Alt key, right, to quickly access a control. Use keyboard, right, to access a control. You can assign an access key to a button's text property by adding a ampersand. That is the thing, ampersand, okay, before a letter, okay, before a letter. The user can then use the keystroke combination of Alt plus X or Alt plus small x to click the button, okay? To access a text box control, in this manner, assign the mnemonic key to the label that immediately precedes the text box in the tab order. Okay, in the tab order. So let's see our example, right? So in this example, I want to use letter C to trigger clear button. I want to use letter X, right? Trigger exit button. So this is easy, right? I go to the text property. You click clear button, right? You go to the text property. So for clear, right? So I want to use what? It is ampersand, okay, or and symbol, okay, ampersand before C, right? Okay. There. You see before C, right? You click enter, you see I have underline, right? Underline under the letter C, okay? So that is a hint to tell the user letter key C, right? C will be a way to trigger this button, clear, okay? Similarly, for X, right? For X, right? So you can put ampersand, right? Before letter X. Remember, which the letter you want to use as access key. Before that letter, you put ampersand. Okay, ampersand. Okay. I press enter. You see, on the letter X, there will be an underline. Okay, on the letter X, there will be an underline. Okay, let's try it. Okay, let's try it. So we start this application. It's there, right? I put a name. Sorry. Okay. So I put a date, right? Right, I put a date. Sorry, I put a date there. Right, this one. So I do not want to use my mouse to clear these two keys. I want to use what? To use the access key, right? Access key. Let's try. Okay. I use ALT plus C. You see, it's clear, right? The content is cleared on the form, and the focus is sent back to the name text box. It works. Okay, it works. So for the second one, second way, so we are going to use exit key, EXIT, right? The access key will be letter X, So I use ALT plus X. The form is closed, okay? It is working, okay? It is working. So for most labs and assignments, okay, most labs and assignments, so there will be requirement for access keys. Okay, you need to be careful what will be the required access keys. Okay. So access key appearance, the access key for control will be underlined when the form displays during a program run. In some situations, due to the way that Windows is configured on a computer, it may be necessary to press the ALT key to see the underline on the form, which is my case. You see, when I run this application, right? You see, there are no underlines, right? On the letter for button clear and button exit, there are no underlines. But when you click ALT key first on your keyboard, you click ALT, you see these two underlines occur, okay? They are there, then it is normal, okay? Sometimes you may not see it on the key when you start the application. So press ALT key once on your keyboard, then you will see these underlines, okay? These underlines. So setting color, forms and most controls have a back color property. So controls that display text also have a full color property. These properties support a drop-down list of color options. The drop-down list has 3 tabs. Custom, you have a palette, right, of various colors. Web, colors displayed with consistency in web browsers. System, colors displayed in current Windows configurations, okay? You can also set color values using code. The .NET framework provides numerous color constants. For color values, for example, I use black, yellow, okay? So this is how we can change the background color, okay? How we can change background color. So in this course, for most assignment and labs, we will not ask you to change color because minor. That's the main coding part. So background images for forms. A form has a property named background image that is similar to the image property of a picture box. Simply import image to the select resource window. A form also has a background image layout property that is similar to the size mode property of a picture box. Choose from one of the following options. We have none, title, center, stretch, and zoom, okay? So in some labs and assignments, you may need to put a picture there sometimes, okay? Sometimes. This is not very difficult, just set up some property, okay? This is not coding, okay? Set up some property. So the next topic is interesting because you need it. I think you need it in assignment. So it is a group box control is a rectangle control that appears with a pale thin border that an optional title in its upper left corner. What is that? So let's assume you are filling an online application form to apply some fellowship, okay, fellowship. So at first, you need to put your personal information, right? Then you put your school information, right? You put some other information, right? A lot of different areas to fill, okay? So usually for this online form, a way used by this form is to create a group, right? You see that the first group will be personal information, right? With the title personal information. Inside this group, you see first name, last name, personal address, city, a state, right? You see this personal information, okay, personal information. Then sometimes when you fill online billing form, right, you see a group area which is billing information, right, which is credit card number, billing address, billing phone number, email address, right? These are grouped inside the billing address, right? Billing information group. So the group box can be used to help to organize, right, different controls in different groups, right, which can help the user to use the form. Because when the user observes these groups, the user will understand, well, and first I need to fill in my personal information, right? Then I need my shipping address. Then I need my billing information, right? So it can help the user. It is very useful. That's group box control, okay? So it is a container control intended to hold other controls. Group box controls are used to create a sense of visual organization on a form, okay, to help the user. Controls placed within a group box should be related to each other in a manner that will be clear to the user. For example, all the controls requesting customer information could be placed in one group, while the controls seeking information on what products are desired to be ordered could be placed in a different group. Okay, this is used to help the user. You see, this is one example, right? We have customer information, first name, last name, street, city, state, zip, right? In the second group, we have payment information, credit card number, expiration date. Okay, there are two groups in this application. There are two groups in this application. So how to do the group control? So you do this, right? See, you see that. Let me put another one, right? I have name. I have this, right? So name, and let's do this. Very simple. I add label. Label will be this is add another item, okay. Email, email address, okay, address. Okay, remember the first one, the first step is to change the name of the control. This is always the first step. So the text will be email, okay, email. So I have a text box, right, for the input of the email. Okay, this is the text email, okay, email. So I want to be email text box, right? You need to follow Camel convention, right? Change the name is always first step, right? So I have this, right? Name and email. I want the first two to be grouped in a personal information group, right? How to do that? You go to toolbox, right? You go to toolbox, okay? So you go to the group box. You have a control group box, right? You double click, okay? You see there's a group box, right? Group box. So the name of is group box, right? I want it to be personal information, right? On Camel convention. Personal info, right? Group box, that's the name of the control. So for the text property, I want it to be personal information, right? I want this to be this one. I want to put this to name and email, these two parts, okay, in the group box, right? How to do that? So you put your group box in one place, right? You select name and you drag in this group box, okay? Or you use name, you do this, you press, you keep pressing the control key, okay? Then I can select 4 different controls, okay? Then I do this control X cut. I cut these controls. I select my personal group box, right? Then I paste. Okay, you see, now these 4 different controls are put in this personal group box. You see, they are moving as one group, right? They are moving as one group, okay? They are moving as one group. Now, if I run my application, right? If I run my application, so it is clear, right? It is clear on the form. You see, there is a group, right? To group the name and email. Okay, this is how you group different control. Okay. So group boxes versus panels. A group box control is a container with a theme border and an optional title that can hold other controls. A panel control is also a container that can hold other controls. There are several primary differences between a panel and a group box control. A panel cannot display a title and does not have a text property, but a group box supports these 2 properties, okay? It can have a text property. A panel's border can be specified by its border type property, while the group box cannot, okay? So you can see that in the assignment, in the future assignment, sometimes you need to use group box, okay? Be careful. The title, what is the title of the group box, okay? Be careful about this. So selecting multiple controls, there are various options to select multiple controls. Drag a selection box around the control. For example, I want to select these 2 buttons, okay? I use this dragging part, right? These 2 are selected, okay? Drag to select multiple controls. Click on control, hold on the control key or shift key and select more controls. In the menu, edit, select all, right? You can select all controls on the form. You can move controls as a group by dragging the entire selected group to a new location. Deselect group of controls. by clicking on the form background, okay, the property window displays shared properties where all controls in a group can have values changed at once, okay? It is how we can select multiple controls at one time, okay, at one time. So aligning multiple controls to align controls that are selected as a group, use the format menu or the layout toolbar to make controls equal in size. Align controls, equalize spacing between controls, okay? It means that you can go to format, okay? Format. There is a line menu, okay? To align different controls. For example, I select these two, right? These two labels, okay? I want align to the right. Okay, see it's better. Okay, it's aligned to the red, okay? So setting the form start position on the screen. So you see that in our application, right? If we select the form, click the form, so there is a property start position, okay? Start position, you see, what is that? It means, so when we start the application, where is the form? You see the form is Windows default is there, okay? Windows default. We have, we can have this. We can also have, let's see, we can also have center screen or Windows default bounds, right? Center parent, okay? Sometimes in the instruction manual of your assignment, there is a requirement of that property. Be careful. There are some students who miss that, forgot to set up this. For example, if I select center screen, right? I start. You will see the form will start in the center of the screen, okay? We will start here, right? It's in the center of the screen, okay? In the center of the screen. So set the form initial screen location while the program runs by setting the form's start position property. For example, to set center a form on the user screen when the program is run, set the start position property to center screen. Okay, center. So using the debugger to locate logic errors, what is that? So sometimes there are no syntax error. For example, you have fixed all the statements with missing semicolon. So we fix all those problems, but the output, the results are still not correct. So in this case, you have to debug the code, okay? For debug, you need to set up breakpoint. What is that, okay? For example, if I go there, right? You see in my clear button, right? I have 3 different statements. I have name clear button, empty code. The date mask text box control, empty code, right? I send back focus. I want debug the how debug. You need sec breakpoint. What is breakpoint? You need tell C# when to stop. I want to check that specific statement. Okay. For example, I want to stop in this one. Date mask text box dot text is to clear. You go to the beginning of this gray bar, right? You click. You will see a red bullet, okay? This red bullet is the stopping point. So you see that? Now I create a red bullet right here when I start my application, right? Because when you start application, the code is running this part, initialize component, okay? There are no stopping point, so it's working. However, right? However, when I start the form, right, I have a breakpoint for the clear button, right? Clear button, I put something here, name, right? Email. So date will be, right? This is date. When I click clear button, I have set up a breakpoint there. I click, right? You see, it goes there. Okay, it stops. It means before this one, I'm satisfied. I may have some problem after this one, I want to debug, okay? Then I want to move line by line to see the result, right? I go there, debug, right? You see? So step into is step in the method, step over is step 10. So it means, so move for one more step, you click F10, okay? You click F10, right? I click F10, it moves, okay? It moves, okay? It moves. You see, it moves one more step, okay? Right? You can see the yellow arrow move for one more step, okay? This is how you run the code line by line, okay? Run the code line by line. So this is how we set up a breakpoint is a line you select in your source code when the application is running and it reaches a breakpoint. The application pauses and enters break mode. While the application is paused, you may examine the contents of variables and the values stored in the contain control properties to see if they are what you expect. They're correct, okay? They're correct. This is how we just learned, right? It will stop. This is how we set up breakpoint. So this is a break mode, right? You run it line by line, okay? Line by line. So to examine the contents of variable or control property, hover the cursor over the variable name or the property name in the code editor. A pop-up window will display the value of the variable or the property. You see that is my code, right? I want to check the text property, right? You see the text property is empty, okay? You put your cursor there, the value will be displayed, okay? It can help you to check if the corresponding value is correct, okay? It is correct or not. So let's continue. We're almost finished, okay? So autos, locals, and watch windows. So the autos window displays a list of variables comparing the current statement, the 3 statements before and the 3 statements after the current statement, showing the current value and the data type of each variable. The locals window displays a list of all the variables in the current scope. The watch window allows you to add names of variable you want to watch. You can open any of these windows while debugging by click debug on the menu bar. You see, here I have auto, local, watch, okay? This window can watch these variables inside these windows, okay? Inside these windows. This is local window. For single step on, right? Single stepping. So basically, we will still allow you to single step through our application. This means that application statements execute one statement at a time. After the statement, you can examine variable and property values. This process allows you to identify line or lines of code causing the error. That's how we debug. Okay. Single step, press F11, okay, or click user menu.